Hi, it's Taylor T. Carlson, and I'm back with another video game review for you. Today we're going to be looking at a very underrated shooter from the NES called Fantasy Zone. This is actually a game that's been ported to many systems, and it's had many sequels and remakes as well. Actually, ironically, a lot of the sequels and remakes were on Sega systems of all things. Even the NES cartridge of this game is one of those black Tengen cartridges, which is not an official Nintendo release. And despite that, you shouldn't let that deter you. This is actually a very fun game, and fans of side-scrolling shooters will definitely want to check this one out. You play as Opa Opa, a living spaceship who wants to bring peace to the Fantasy Zone. And so you have to play through several levels where you have to destroy these mobile base enemies, eventually moving on to fight the bosses. As you go through the levels and you destroy the enemies, you're going to get gold that you can use in a shop where you can buy new equipment. They call it gold, although it's actually pink in the game, so go figure. When you get to one of the shop balloons, you're going to go inside and you're going to see what's available, and you're going to find things from like upgrades for your main cannon that only last a short time. You'll find upgrades for bombs, because the game lets you fire regular shots as well as drop bombs. And then you'll find things like bigger engines and wings that'll make you go faster, and even things like extra lives. However, this game has a bit of a catch. There's a supply and demand element here, which basically means if you buy something and you come back and you want to buy it again, you're actually going to end up paying more for it when you return. This puts a really interesting spin on things, because it means if you want to stick to your same tactics, you're probably going to end up paying more and more to do it. You can only have one engine upgrade, one bomb upgrade, and one main weapon upgrade at a time. And if you get a lost life, you're going to lose any upgrades that you've already gotten. In the rare event that you do purchase more stuff than you can equip, but you want to switch, occasionally you'll find a select balloon that lets you do this. Now, when you complete each of the stages by defeating the mobile base enemies, which get stronger and take more hits with each level, you're going to face the boss of the level. These bosses are pretty tough, and it takes a lot to bring them down, but if you manage to do so, you're going to get a ton of gold that you can use in the shop on the next level, and this continues on for 7 levels. When you get through the 7 levels, you have to go through a boss gauntlet where you refight all of the bosses that you've fought so far in the game, and that's finished off with an 8th and final boss who I will not spoil in this review. And when you finally manage to complete the game, you'll get a brief text narration thing that describes how the story ends, and the big plot twist regarding the villain, of course, is ripped straight out of Star Wars. I'm not going to say anything else because I want to let gamers experience this much for themselves. Fantasy Zone is definitely a lot of fun to play. It's a very underrated game, although it is good to see this game and some of its remakes, sequels, and so on, seeing re-releases on a lot of the online stores that the video game systems these days have. My complaints with the game are relatively minor. First and foremost, there are no continues, meaning if you get a game over, you're going all the way back to the beginning of the game. Fortunately, it's not so super long that you're never going to want to play again after a crippling defeat late in the game. There's also a few minor glitches in regards to what way your spaceship faces. In some boss fights, you're fixed to face a certain direction, which actually makes the fights easier, but then in some boss fights, you don't get that, even though it would make it easier, so not totally sure what the deal was there. Additionally, as it says on the title screen, the game is only for one player. I guess it would have been kind of hard to make a 2-player cooperative game out of this concept, although if they'd done it right, it probably would have been a lot of fun. Looking at the trippy, psychedelic graphics and the cutesy enemies, this could almost be considered an early example of the cute-em-up genre, and it's definitely one that, despite being over 30 years old, it still remains a personal favorite of mine. What do you think of Fantasy Zone? Have you had a chance to play this game or any other port of the game? Any of the sequels, any of the remakes? It's one of those series I think is long overdue for a revival. I'd love to see a new Fantasy Zone game. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm Taylor T. Carlson, and I will see you in my next video game review.